Wake up, football fans! It's week 5 of the college football season, week 5 of our show. We're glad you're back. We're excited to be back.
We're excited to be back. We're excited to be with you today.
I'm real excited to be back.
Seth's-
Sorry about last week. Fans let you down, but
Seth's back. We're sorry he was busy, but it's a new
back,
week.
Back by popular demand.
I don't know. I thought we had a really good show last week.
Ratings were up.
Yeah. Got the fake news out of here with the hot takes.
We're going to start out with a recap of last week. We'll start out with Central Florida getting a win over Lane Kiffin and Florida Atlantic, 56-36. Is UCF a legit threat right now?
Not with Josh Heupel as their head coach.
Okay.
It's a bunch of hype train. He's never been a good coach here. He wasn't at Utah State, wasn't at Missouri. I don't know how he landed this job, but
I've been saying from the get-go, I don't put a whole lot of stock into teams like UCF. I think they're classic top 25 teams that'll play in a Chick-fil-A Bowl come New Year's,
And
but
then
they're
lose
not
by
going to do
30.
anything. Yeah, they'll get shown up. But I'm not putting a lot of stock into it, and they're decent though. They'll have a good season.
Yeah, I think they're a good team, but they just don't play good enough opponents to do anything. So they go undefeated. It'll be just like it was last year. They'll claim the national championship, but they're not. They can't get in the college football playoff even undefeated. So
I won't even sniff it.
maybe we shouldn't talk about them anymore.
But
Waste my
Mackenzie
time.
Milton, he's a good player.
He is a stud. Well, Virginia Tech lost one they shouldn't have lost last week to Old Dominion. Old Dominion, I believe, was winless going into that game. That was 49-35 game. What did you guys think of that?
I didn't watch it. I don't care. I didn't care about the game.
I didn't
at
even
all.
know that game existed until I heard
Yeah.
Virginia Tech loses one
Oh,
they shouldn't.
I'm telling you, dude, that was embarrassing. I mean, we need to start having a segment where we're doing the cancel your football team program segment, because Virginia Tech, you might want to consider it after that week.
Ever since they lost Frank Beamer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a tailspin. Old Dominion.
All I could think about after that one was the fact that Florida State lost to Virginia Tech, and that just makes Florida State look that much worse at this point.
Hey,
if
you know what?
Dissect their schedule.
I still like Justin Fuente, but I just think that he didn't have his boys ready to go. He was probably preparing for whatever they had this week, and yeah, it got to him.
Well, Stanford pulls out an overtime win against Oregon. Is Stanford the real deal right now?
Okay, I caught this game at the last half. Stanford had no business winning this game. They were down 7 with like 30 seconds left, and Oregon's running back is reaching for a first down on second down. You're 1 yard away. They don't have any timeouts left, and you fumble the ball. What are you doing? You're taught this in Pee Wee football, and then of course, lo and behold, they go down, score a touchdown, and I don't know. Stanford's the same song and dance every year. They're gonna have a good running game, but their quarterbacks, they're gonna be above average for college, but once they get into the big games, they look like they're Landry Jones out there.
Should we think anything of this game?
No. I predicted that Bryson Love would kind of get healthy on this game. Bryce Love. Sorry. I predicted Bryce Love would get back to where he should be after this game, and I predicted a Stanford win. But other than that, not worth the effort.
What was Bryce Love's stat line?
Bryson?
Yeah, Bryson.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's look that up real quick.
He hasn't had a big season. Part of that was because he missed some time, but
Yeah, maybe.
we have a research team on it. We'll see
Yeah,
what
he
stat line
he
was.
just Googled who the head coach of Virginia Tech was before. Yeah, you did. I was like,
No, I wouldn't do that. Justin Fuente's my boy. I think he's a good coach. All right, let's
Google it.
We're on to
Hey, we're disappointing the fans right
we're
now.
on to the Stanford
They
Cardinals.
don't like this delay.
We're on to Cincinnati. Oh, where is old Bryce? Well, forget it. Hold up. Oh, he had 19 carries for 89 yards.
Okay. One touchdown.
Hold up. Rodney Anderson, before his ACL, was cranking out 5-carry, 100-yard quarters. Bryce, do better. We know you can do better.
Yeah, Bryce didn't follow up last year's campaign very well so far, but
The only thing
Season's
Rodney
young.
Anderson's carrying right now is a cast, and Bryce Love's still on the field. So at least he's doing it against top 25 teams.
That's true.
well, we're gonna move on from Stanford and Bryce Love. That was a mess. We'll move on. Sorry, fans. Oklahoma State lost pretty big to Texas Tech last week, 41-17. Oklahoma State was at home, Boone Pickens Stadium. What do you make of this?
Gundy must have had a lot of vodka in that smoothie after that game. You're a terrible coach, Gundy. But anyways, you got to do something about old UConn Cornelius. He can't get the job done. That's the reason.
UConn, huh?
We'll get to it in a little bit, but that's why Jalen McCluskey's transferring. There's a play he's streaking wide open down the middle of the field. You look right at him.
He was streaking.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no wonder
It's
he's
like
transferring.
Will Ferrell in Old School, just streaking.
He's going right. He's going way down the field, and you look right at him, and then throw the 5-yard dump off, and you could have a touchdown. It's like there's a pretty good reason why he's transferring.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they need to go with the grad transfer from Hawaii. I believe his name is Drew Brown. They also have a great freshman, Spencer Sanders, but I'm not a big fan of going with freshmen if you don't have to. So, put in Brown and, let's see. Cornelius hadn't been very accurate, especially on the deep ball, and that's the bread and butter of Oklahoma State's offense. So,
Cornelius is
they're
terrible.
going to have to do something.
OSU is who we thought they were. They're a bad quarterback play, bad defense,
They've got Justice Hill.
bad head coach,
Good back.
bad defensive coordinator. I just honestly,
Bad
I don't
athletic
know.
program, but a great wrestling school that their
Yeah,
fans
give
are
them
going to
credit.
talk about for years and say they're the superior athletic program.
Don't forget they hosted the golf tournament
Oh.
at their home course.
They did.
Who
When
allows
they were
a golf
the-
tournament to be a national championship to be hosted at their own course?
When they were the 1 seed.
yeah,
You
once
gotta be
at your
fair.
own course.
You better win that.
If you
Anyways,
took me to my home country club, I could go.
you take me
beat
up to
somebody,
Adams Golf
yeah.
Course, I can maybe beat Steven.
There you go, Steve.
Maybe. Hey, a lot of people don't know, but Oklahoma State won the men's golf Big 12 championship last year.
On their home
National
course.
championship, not just Big 12.
No, but OU won
Oh,
the Big
OU.
12.
Oh,
yeah.
OU did.
OU won the
Okay,
Big
never
12.
Wow.
And OSU went and won the Natty.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that till a guy in front of me at the OU football game last week was talking about it. And
That's awesome.
the golf team was recognized for it.
How about that?
It was news to
Sweet.
me.
Sweet.
But lastly, Texas wins another pretty big game. They beat TCU last week, 31-16. Week before they beat USC. What's gotten into Texas?
Texas is back to being an overhyped team.
I hate to take the unpopular opinion. I hate Texas with a passion. But they've won a couple good games in a row. They usually play well against USC.
Okay.
But the TCU win was impressive.
I'll give them that TCU was impressive, but I mean at the same time, that's a flash in the pan. You go 2 straight weeks of playing terrible football against overmatched Maryland and very overmatched Tulsa, and almost should have lost to Tulsa, if we're being honest. And USC, I think they were overrated from the get-go. They got too much hype from beating somebody early in the season, and I don't know. They've got some work to do. But it'll be interesting. The big test comes next week whenever it's OU Texas. We'll find out a lot about the Big 12 and a lot about those two teams next week. See where they really stack up.
I think I've said it on this show
Stack up.
before, but I'm not buying into Texas until they can get a whole season of success under their belt again. We've seen this before. They win a few they shouldn't win. They were favored last week, but only because they were at home. And
They've got
I'm not sold yet.
They've got a big test this week.
You do.
We'll get to that in a little bit, though.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on to a little bit of transfer news in the college football world. Trevor Lawrence was named the starting quarterback at Clemson. He's a freshman. He's a big recruit. So they're moving on from Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant doesn't like that. He's transferring. With the new redshirt rule, guys can play in up to 4 games and still redshirt that season, so he's taking advantage of that. What do you make of Kelly Bryant leaving Clemson right now? And what do you think of Trevor Lawrence being the starter?
I mean, he did the only thing he had to do. I mean, I feel for the man. I mean, you got to feel like you've been betrayed. You haven't done anything wrong outside of just playing terrible in the college football playoff. But that being said, Dabo, what are you doing? Let him finish out the year. Trevor Lawrence is going to have his time. You could still redshirt him after this year. You could redshirt him now. I mean, I think he sets you up for a decent future, but he's not Deshaun Watson by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he looks like a scrawny arms Rob Lowe out there throwing the ball. I mean, he's got a cannon, but he looks brittle out there. And I don't know how he's going to be able to handle it whenever he gets in the playoff and if they make it there.
They'll make it there. The committee will find a way to get Clemson in there.
Treating them like a blue blood.
They don't-
It's an invitational.
Clemson doesn't have a very tough schedule in the ACC the rest of the year. So.
Clemson, Alabama Invitational is what they should just start
pretty
calling
much.
it.
Yeah, I just think that Kelly Bryant, he did what was right, and I don't know, I'd do the same thing if I was in his shoes. But it'll be interesting to see where he lands up. I think that I don't know, there's some intriguing teams. North Carolina is one of them. Arkansas. And you know what? I even think that Auburn would be a good pick. I just think that all those guys, all those players, especially Auburn, give him a chance to elevate his skills, and maybe get to the next level at some sort, maybe as a receiver or tight end. But I don't know. My pick right now is North Carolina. He's going to stay close to home.
You know, I don't think I love that Dabo's going with a freshman over. Kelly Bryant was 16-2 as the starting quarterback at Clemson. 12-2 last year. Go to the college football
He
playoff.
only lost one game.
4-0.
He didn't start.
They
the-
lost.
But he got hurt
Syracuse
in that
in the
game.
college
You're
football.
right. My apologies.
that's
He
true.
did not start that game.
That's
So
true.
he only lost
Well, he ended the
one
game.
game as the starter at Clemson. I just don't know why you go away from the experience. I know Trevor Lawrence has had better stats so far this season, but in crunch time, at the end of that Texas A&M game, they put on Kelly Bryant.
Exactly.
He saved the day.
He's still a freshman. and
Trevor
freshmen are gonna make
Lawrence
mistakes.
doesn't look super comfortable, like Seth said, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kelly Bryant ends up somewhere like South Carolina. He's from South Carolina. Maybe he stayed close to home once. Maybe he stays close to home again. It's out of conference, so he can make it work.
First of all, getting beat out by Sunshine, that's got to hurt his pride a little bit. I mean, that guy. My prediction on Kelly Bryant, I got him going to West Virginia. I think he's got some huge shoes to fill after this year, replacing Heisman hopeful Will Grier. And I think that he's going to go to West Virginia, play for Coach Holgerson, and have medium success. But I got West Virginia as his landing destination.
Now the real question is, do you think that Trevor Lawrence will be as successful as Sunshine was coming in and ruler the Titans?
No, Sunshine. Yeah,
There's
Sunshine.
only one Sunshine. Sorry, Trevor.
That's true. Cut the hair.
Cut the hair.
I'd tackle him by the hair. It's legal. I'd grab the hair.
Well, another player transferring, Jalen McCleskey, wide receiver at Oklahoma State. After 4 games, he's another player that can still redshirt. He's out. What do we make of that?
I kind of chuckled when I saw this in the lineup. I mean, we're talking about Jalen McCleskey. Really? Oh, well, I mean, good for him. He's transferring, getting out of a pitiful situation with UConn throwing him the ball. But you know what? TU's probably going to be the best team calling for him. He hadn't done much at OSU. So we'll see. Best of luck to him, though.
Real quick, let's take a look at this play from last week's game that could have been the determining factor on why he transferred. As you can see, he was wide open there. As Seth would call him, Yukon Cornelius dumps it off. It seems like McCleskey's been there for about 8 years, but somehow he can still have 1 more year. But I don't know. He's a little overrated. They've had much better receivers through there.
It's just like J.W. Walsh. 1 more year. 1 more year.
I think they probably came in the same year.
Probably they
Walsh
did.
and McCleskey.
I'm sure they did.
Do you make anything of McCleskey leaving?
I don't care about Jalen McCleskey, but I do care about how bad the OSU football program, the state it's in right now, they're in shambles. That's a dumpster fire, and I look forward to the Cliff. I think that Texas Tech game. I'm calling it. That was a Cliff game.
Okay.
They're
And
kind of
it's
like
about to get bad.
they're like a mediocre version with no history. The Steelers in the NFL, OSU right now, all the dysfunction around them, man.
They got the mullet man driving that
Driving
car
on-
right off a cliff.
Well, another player that there's been some transfer speculation, but nothing official. Will Jalen Hurts transfer out of Alabama? Yes or no?
You want to take this one?
No, I got him. I think he's going to stick it out. I don't see him leaving. I think he waits. Do you think that Tua Tagovailoa? Do you think he's going to the league after this year?
He's only a
that
sophomore. He's got a
stable.
whole
Oh, he's got to go
year.
one more year.
Nah, Tua's going to stay for 4 years. He doesn't translate to the NFL. He's puny. People thought Baker was small. Tua's tiny. But, I mean, I don't know. Jalen, he needs to do his best for him, and I just don't think that staying at Bama, riding the pine for the next year and a half is going to be what's good for him. I mean, he could translate to an athlete in the NFL. He's a fast guy, but he kind of looks like a running back out there that can throw the ball. But, if I'm him, I'm transferring back home. I'm either going to Houston or Texas. Those teams need quarterbacks, especially Texas. Whenever you're dealing with Shane Buechele and Sam Ehlinger, you need somebody that can get the job done. And Jalen Hurts has proven time and again that he can get the job done. And I think he needs to get out of that situation and get into something good because he's going to be overlooked for everything he's done for that program just because of what Tua's doing.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of when they went away from Jalen Hurts, but Tua's played very well. There's no going back now. It's over for Hurts at Alabama. He'll leave. It's hard to say where, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he transfers.
Oh, when you look at that, I just clicked on the Houston Cougars page on ESPN, and what do you know? The first article is where could Jalen Hurts land?
Don't go to Houston.
It's
Yeah,
like
don't go to Houston. Go to Texas. Go somewhere you can compete.
So you want OU to play Jalen Hurts next couple
Yeah, I
years?
think it'd be interesting. Get some spice in the Big 12.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
when
Big 12's better when Texas is good, as much as we might not like it.
Texas needs to get rid of the Longhorns.
But here's the thing: does Jalen Hurts throw the ball well enough to play in the Big 12? I don't feel like he can sling it around. To play in the Big 12.
I think Jalen Hurts being in the Big 12 would be a lot like what's the guy from TCU last year? Kenny
Hill.
Trill, baby. Yeah, I just think they'd be really similar because Kenny Hill can run, but he can't throw the ball great.
Yeah, and in the Big 12, you got to be able to sling it around. I think that'd be a disaster for Jalen. I don't like that. I don't like that matchup for him. But if he wants to come and throw picks in the Big 12, he can do that. But
I think maybe the Big 10's probably the best place for Jalen Hurts.
yeah, somewhere where he can run the ball and high school level arm.
He's a pretty good fit in the SEC, but they're not going to let him go in conference. So. Well, it's time for Hayden Time, brought to you by Custom Roofing Solutions. Take it away, Hayden.
Hey guys, a little change of scenery for the day, but I think it's going to be all right. I've got 3 good games coming at you today and another awesome play this week, so I think Hayden Time's going to be at the peak today. But first we have Syracuse at Clemson. Good Syracuse team. They've been playing hard lately. With the spread of 25 points, I think Clemson gets this one fairly simple. Nothing about it. Our next game is Purdue at Nebraska. And the Purdue at Nebraska game has Purdue favored by 3.5 points. Nebraska has been shaky lately. They've been real shaky. But, I'm gonna give it to Nebraska. I think they pull this one out and get the W today. Our final game and the game of the week for me is Ohio State and Penn State. Coming into the season, I didn't think Penn State was going to be very good, and quite frankly, I don't think many people did. After losing Saquon, I don't think they really had much of a chance to put up some wins. But I've been impressed. I'm always impressed with Ohio State. Being at OU, we kind of last 2 years, it was a solid game. Solid rivalry just for those 2 games. But I'm going to take Penn State in this one, I think. Ohio State's favored by 3.5, but I think Penn State can pull this one off. I've seen a lot of good play, and I'm really impressed with how we're doing right now, so I'm going to take them. But without wasting any time, we're going to go to the play of the week, where this week is another one of those plays where it's just what was going on. So we're going to show you a Wake Forest kicker who kind of forgot what his job was. Kicker off doing what kickers do, I guess, on the sidelines when they're not in the game. But problem was he was supposed to be in the game, and so let's take a look at that.
There's the field goal team on the field. The holder, Dom Maggio, wondering where Nick Skiba is. It was an unexpected outcome, at least for the kicker.
Yeah. 4th down. In that part of the field, you should expect to go onto the field.
I don't even know. I words don't describe to me what's going on right here. He seems to have forgotten what he was doing at the time over there kicking field goals into nets when he realized that his team is actually on the field waiting on him to be out. He has one job and wasn't able to do it. So it'll be interesting to look into that. But thanks for seeing Hayden Time, and I'll send it right back to the guys.
All right, thank you, Hayden. We appreciate that. It's time for this week's picks. We'll start out with West Virginia taking a visit to Texas Tech. This is the top 25 matchup as Texas Tech squeaks into the top 25 after last week's win. Who do you have?
I never bet against Will Grier. I think that they're in trouble in Lubbock, but I think Will Grier, that guy, he's the muscle, the hustle, the bustle. He's going to lead them to a win in Lubbock.
That is Russell Westbrook. I'm sorry. Do not use those adjectives with Will Grier.
Oh, Russell. Sorry. Russell Westbrook.
How dare you?
First round
How
exit.
dare you? You know, I really want to pick West Virginia on this because I think Will Grier is good. As much as it seems like a trash on him, Will Grier is a good quarterback. I just think that going into Texas Tech, there's something about West Texas that people just don't like. Understandable.
Including
there's a lot of stuff not to like in West Texas, but I just think trees don't even like it in West Texas. But there's a lot to like with this Texas Tech team. I think don't expect them to put up anything like what they did against Oklahoma State. But they're going to need a type of performance similar to that in order to beat West Virginia. West Virginia looks more well-rounded than they have been in the past. And so I just think it's going to take a full effort from Texas Tech, but I think they can get it done at home. It's a crazy place out in West Texas. Is it a night game too?
I'm not sure what time, but
those Lubbock nights, those get pretty crazy.
A lot of cowboy boots at this one.
A lot of
I'll tell you
cowboy
what.
boots and a lot of
And if
tortillas being thrown.
If there's West Virginia fans there, it's going to be Davy Crockett hats and Wranglers and boots. That's what the battle's going to be.
That's the battle of the rednecks.
Well, I'm going to go with the Davy Crockett hats in this one. I like West Virginia. I think this is a close one. It'll be a shootout. Obviously, experience with Will Grier at West Virginia versus a freshman quarterback at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, past years, they've lost a lot of high-scoring games. This will be another one. So maybe 60 to 55. I don't know, somewhere in there.
And it is an early game. So early games and late games, those are what you put up set alert on. Mid-afternoon, they'll handle.
We shall see.
Hear that, gamblers? Don't put money on that game.
If you're going to Vegas, don't put money on this game. Bet the under.
Well, the Oklahoma State Cowboys take a trip up north to Lawrence, Kansas. Play the Kansas Jayhawks this week. Kansas won 2 in a row, lose to Baylor last week, but Cowboys or Jayhawks?
I think this will be close. It might sound stupid, but UConn Cornelius will not get it done. This is the game that Cornelius loses his job, and I think that's. It's been writing on the wall for a while, but I think it comes to fruition today or tomorrow.
Does he get replaced during the game or going into next week?
Oh, halftime. He's out at halftime.
Okay.
You're taking Kansas.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma State's still going to win.
All right. Okay.
But UConn's losing his job, and I just whoever the Hawaii guy is, he's coming in.
Brown, I believe his last name.
I don't think they burned the red shirt on Spencer
Jason
Sanders.
Brown.
I mean, Sanders hasn't played in a game. He could play in 4 games.
He could, but I don't think they do it yet.
They have a little bit higher hopes than just having him for 4 games. So, who do you have in this one?
I got OSU winning. Unfortunately, I'd love to be wrong and see Kansas win, but I just think OSU is too much for the Jayhawks. But good that the Jayhawks are on the come up. That's good. The Big 12 needs that. But I got OSU.
This week in Lawrence, the Jayhawks, they have their big late night at the Fog. Their big shindig to kick off the basketball season. So those fans are gonna be way too focused on that because the basketball scene's crazy up there. They go nuts for it.
Hold up. You're saying there's gonna be fans at this game?
No, they're gonna be focused on basketball.
Is there ever fans at KU games? Though is the question.
No.
Okay, so then there's no reason to pull
There's
focus
gonna
away.
There's gonna be a few less though.
There's gonna be the moms and dads in the stands that are the players' moms and dads.
But it's almost basketball season, so OSU comes in and takes care of business against Jayhawks.
Yeah.
Texas also heading north to Kansas. They play K-State. Do you like Tom Herman or A.J. Parker?
You know what? K-State, baby. They're going to get it done. They're going to show that all this – they're going to end the hype train, and they're going to stall it on the tracks right here. I just think that Texas has been over their head in this one. I think K-State's defense is going to rattle them. It's going to be similar to the Maryland game, sloppy all the way through, but K-State pulls it out in the end.
What do you think?
I was hoping you were going to take Texas because I got K-State too. I feel this one. I think it's coming off of these 2 games. Texas feeling good about themselves.
They always struggle with
I think it's a
K-State,
perfect trap game in Manhattan. Coach Snyder just got off. I'm not going to go there. I was about to make an old joke. I'm not going to do it.
Cut off his defibrillator.
got his dialysis and he's ready to go. And
he took an extra shot of insulin.
Yeah,
for this one.
I got K-State getting it done against Texas, and Texas coming down.
Hey, I'll take K-State also. These are two teams I don't cheer for either one of them very often. They're just two teams I don't have a soft spot in my heart for. But A.J. Parker had his first interception. I believe it was his first interception.
It was a good one too.
Had it last week, and so I think he's going to carry the momentum, and K-State will get it done. Stanford at Notre Dame. These are this is top 10 matchup. Two undefeateds. Stanford or Notre Dame? What do you got?
Is this even a question? Stanford. Notre Dame's the most overrated team in the nation right now. Riding high off that Michigan win. They've squeaked it out the last couple weeks against Wake Forest, and I don't know who else they played. Purdue or something like that, but no. Notre Dame's always overrated. People want to find a reason to make them relevant. It's not the 80s anymore. I don't see, what's his face? Manti Te'o walking through the doors.
Or Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz ain't coming through. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me Stanford. Give me the Cardinal.
This game just doesn't interest me in any way. I'm just not excited. I don't see this game and think, oh man, I can't wait to watch this. I just don't. I guess I got it. It's at Notre Dame, so I'll say that Notre Dame wins at home just because I think that both teams are overrated. But basically, I'm just taking Notre Dame -3 at home. That's all I'm doing.
When I saw this game was number 7 versus number 8, I was like, it's pretty lame top 10 matchup, but
yeah,
I mean
intrigue.
Both of these teams are pretty much guaranteed to go, 2 or 3 losses this year. That's just what these two teams do. Especially Stanford, they're consistent. Notre Dame could even lose more than that, but I'll take Stanford. I've never been on the Notre Dame hype train, so not join it now. Ohio State at Penn State. Penn State, that's a tough place to go. Urban Meyer's first game back off his suspension. Prime time. What do you say?
It's going to be rocking in Happy Valley, let me tell you. And I think that Penn State comes out with the win. Ohio State's looked great this year, don't get me wrong. I just think that they're running into a buzzsaw right now, and I think Penn State's they're going to give them all they want and then some. It's going to be a remake of 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's Dwayne Haskins' first real test, and I think that I don't consider TCU a test. I think TCU was in over their heads, but I just think that Penn State they got what it takes to beat them.
What do you have?
You couldn't find two cleaner programs as far as college football goes. Ohio State and Penn State, the last 5 years, they've just been choir boys in this league. So it's good to see those two great schools going at it. They don't have any problems.
Convicts versus convicts.
Yeah.
Get the shirts made.
Yeah. Offenders versus offenders. This is a bad one. I got Ohio State winning. I think Ohio State's good. Just make sure that nobody gets into trouble in this game. Everybody's got to mind their P's and Q's on this one.
This one's tough. I have a hard time picking a winner in this, but I'll take Ohio State. There's a lot of talent on that team. A lot of talent on both teams, but Urban Meyer, in my mind, probably the second best coach in college football. I think he's excited to be back, and he'll be ready, and Ohio State takes this one. Close game, though. All right, last one. Baylor visiting Norman, Oklahoma. Play the Sooners this week. OU looked a little rough last week. Struggled against Army. That was one we didn't talk about.
Weird game.
Yeah.
This is why you don't schedule service academies. It's great. You get all the hoopla around them. You get the cool flyovers. You get all the special stuff and like the families coming in and doing a bunch of cool activities. But you don't schedule them because it makes you look bad. You know what they're going to run. You haven't seen it in like 3 years. So the next time you see it's going to be 4 or 5 years from now. You just don't schedule Army. You don't schedule Navy. You don't schedule Air Force. You don't schedule any of those.
Don't schedule Coast Guard.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, they're the best one.
They're a tough team.
They're good. Yeah.
I think they're Division III.
Yeah.
Football's fine. But yeah, that game was an outlier. I mean, they're happy with getting 3 yards of carry because they'll just go for it on 4th down. I think OU bounces back in a big way this week. I think that the defense comes out with something to prove, and I just think they play with that chip on their shoulder. They've kind of been missing a little bit the last couple weeks.
Yeah. What do you think?
Okay, I think the line's -18.5. The last 2 weeks, I bet the under, and I mean I would have made a lot of money. I'm going to go with the over. I think OU gets healthy. We win by at least 3 touchdowns this week. So go to Vegas, put it on the over, and I like OU in this game to win pretty comfortably.
Mike Stoops troops, they're going to bring it, baby.
Yeah, I mean, last week it was impossible for OU to score a bunch of points because when Army eats up 45 minutes of possession time, and, I mean, OU scores quick, but when you only have the ball, I believe, 6 times, it's hard to score more than they did.
Yeah.
So
people look at it and they're like, "Oh, the offense didn't come to play either."
The offense
you
wasn't
had
an
it for
issue.
15 minutes and they drove down the field every time, and we got down to the 1 yard line, somehow couldn't score.
I'll say
and
this.
then, of course, the missed field
I'll
goal
say
due to
this.
regulation.
Against a team like Army, scoring quick might not be the best thing to do there. You
Kinda
want longer drives, keep your defense off the field. When your defense is having to stay on the field for so long, it's just a disaster.
Oh yeah.
So
Nothing good
I
comes
will
from
say that offensively, scoring quick's great, but you can't expect to have a great defense with a great offense when you run a system like we run. It's great, but there's drawbacks to it as well.
People need to get off Mike's back. I think he's doing an okay job this year.
Oh yeah, he falls into okay.
He's doing better than he was last year. Let's just
Well, and he's back to facing a team he's comfortable with this week. I mean, I don't even know how you prepare for Army in practice. I mean, you can't put together a scout team offense to totally replicate that. I mean, our good friend Luke, he said it was tough, but you know that's over. OU gets a big win, I think, over Baylor.
Oh yeah, get back on track for Texas next week.
It's time for the Tate Boys game of the week. This week we got Kent State at Ball State. I believe combined record of 2-6 for these two teams. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
Okay.
they're both 1-3.
Both 1 and
So
3. Okay.
Consistency is big here.
I don't even know where to start with this one. What do you think?
Is this Division 1, right? This is
Probably.
and it's,
I guess.
okay. All right. I'm gonna take Kent State because there was it's been like 6 years I think now, but there was a chance that that they were like undefeated going in and got to play in
Ball State.
Kent State.
Oh, Kent State. Well, there was like 10 years ago, Ball State did the same thing.
Ball State, really? Okay, so
Ball
these
State.
are definitely two blue bloods in the college football.
Yes.
So I'm going to take Kent State because more recently they've been good, and they pick up win number 2 this week. I got faith in my Kent State, whatever their mascot name is. I don't know. Seth?
What are they? The Shockers? The Zips? No, that's Akron.
Akron's a Zips.
You know,
Wichita State's.
Ball State's going to do it for the brand, big baller brand.
LeVar Ball could be at this game. Who knows?
Yeah,
Big
LeVar.
time.
Show up, baby. They need you. I just think Ball State's got too much. Kent State runs that kind of running attack, that stupid little system. But you know what? Ball State is going to take this home. They are going to ride off whatever their quarterback's name is, and they're going to give Kent State all they want and then some, and I think Ball State blows them out.
Do you know
Gets win
anything-
number 2 on the year.
Do you know anything about this quarterback?
I can tell you he's got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 hands, and 2 feet.
You never know, though. you
never know,
There's
but-
people in the NFL who are playing without hands.
He wears a
Studs,
helmet, shoulder
yeah.
pads. So
yeah, that's great.
and
In a jersey.
a jersey. Yeah, don't know much else about him, but I know that he plays.
Well, hey, it's all in the name. Ball State. They're ready to ball out.
Oh, looky here! I
They get
found
the
it.
win at home. Oh, we have some stats from
We got
our
some
research
stats.
team.
Riley Neal is the quarterback. He has 839 yards,
Wow.
4 touchdowns on the year, and a 63.3 QBR, which is pretty bad. But
He's ready to get win number 2, though.
let's
That's for
see
sure.
what where are they? Oh, the Golden Flashes.
Oh, wow.
That's what they are.
I would not have guessed that.
Wouldn't have got that.
Okay.
I would have gone with Tigers or Bears.
100%. I am going to Ball State now because Woody Barrett, sorry, I almost said Barnett. He has 826 yards, 4 TDs, but he's only got a QBR of 59.9. So
Ooh.
we know 63.3 is going to bring it. So
Yeah.
I forgot his name again, but I think Ball State's gonna
Riley.
take the seat. Riley.
Riley Neal.
Riley Neal,
yes.
yeah. Yep. Riley Neal's going to lead into the victory.
Hey, Ball State's big time.
Go to
Don't
Vegas.
sleep on them.
Put some money in.
No, don't put a little bit of money maybe just for fun, but
Put your pocket change on
I don't know what time this game's at, but be sure to tune in. That's a big one.
it. It is
Don't miss it.
2 p.m.
Oh, Well, you're going to want to watch that one instead of OU. I know.
Ball State is at home, so Ball State's getting this one.
We might have to skip going to the OU game so we can watch that one.
Set your alarms early. Watch the U.S. take on Europe in the Ryder Cup. Rough day yesterday, but we're coming back.
Tiger is going to get them right.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I think that's all we had for this week. So we hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you next week for week 6. Enjoy this week of football.
Adios.